And you think this stuff's fairy tales still? You think this is Puff the Magic Dragon?
Mariah Carey came to me crying. She was crying so bad I had to hold her. She said to me that this is an evil man. Michael, this man follows me, she said. He taps her phones, and he's very, very evil, and she doesn't trust him. And he is a horrible human being. We have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
How deep does this really go? Before Epstein, before headlines, before anyone was paying attention, there were warnings. In 1970, Senate hearings exposed MK Ultra. Over 150 secret sub-projects were occurring in the U.S. Over 80 institutions ranging from hospitals, universities, and prisons. Unwitting Americans used in psychological experiments, drugs, behavioral control, interrogation research, human experimentation that violated the Nuremberg Code. If powerful institutions were capable of that, what else is happening in the shadows? What's really the meaning of the halftime show at the NFL? Back then we had the Franklin scandal, the Margaret Sanger scandal, the Finders investigation, Hollywood abuse lawsuits, folks. We have survivors speaking out everywhere. Some are proven, some are disputed, but they're never fully investigated. How do we have all these victims but no perpetrator in the Epstein files? But one pattern never changes. Power protects itself in the children that they use to pay the price. Listen, folks, today over 400,000 missing children reports happen every year in the United States of America. Some are found, but found doesn't necessarily mean safe. It does not necessarily mean whole. It does not mean untouched. Because these pedophiles can't wait to touch a kid. And while families search, the biggest stage in America, the NFL halftime show, prepares for spectacle. The NFL, a $20+ billion machine, 100 million people watching at once, and the halftime show becomes about cultural deviance as the centerpiece. Shock, provocation, boundary pushing, transgender nonsense, shoved down the throats of our children by this gentleman by the name of Bad Bunny. A performer built on controversy will now dominate global attention. So ask yourself, why is this an engineered, endless simplification of this kind of spectacle? Man, female, what is he? Who knows? But we get silence from the missing children, from the missing walnuts, missing cheese, missing sauce, missing pizza. Why do institutions that once ran secret programs now demand American blind trust? Why do elites connected to scandal disappear from accountability entirely? Why do survivors, our children, have to struggle alone, folks? Ask yourself this question. If I learned anything from the Epstein files, it proved to me something absolutely terrifying. The unimaginable can exist in plain sight for decades, folks, for decades. So the real question is not whether darkness exists. The real question is, how much of it are we still not allowed to see? 400,000 missing children. We're not even talking about it. That's a lot of pizza pies, folks. That's a lot of babies. That's a lot of children with no birth certificates, born on farms. Are you opening your eyes yet? You don't think there's a black market for brand new organs and stem cells? I showed you just yesterday that this man was trying to buy black baby eggs, placenta, umbilical cords. And you think this stuff's fairy tales still? You think this is Puff the Magic Dragon? Open your eyes, America.
Welcome to the JJ Carrell Show. Do you feel the anger? You feel the resentment? Could you feel it off that man? I can. This is sweeping across America. And as it sweeps across America, my belief is nothing's going to happen. Absolutely nothing. No one's going to go to jail. No one's going to have to stand before the American public. No one's going to have their heads lopped off. No one's going to hang from a high tree. No one's going to be electrocuted. No one is going to pay any price. Because I'm going to go off a quote, or at least paraphrase a quote from Hillary Clinton. If I go down, everyone's going down. And what she was saying was the fact that she knows that everything and everyone in that cesspool of a capital city is intertwined. Everyone knows each other's dark secrets, and they play off them. Why does nothing get done in Washington, D.C. that benefits the United States American? Have you ever just asked yourself that? Why does Israel continue to get billions of dollars and their citizens get free health care? They get monthly stipends for having children. They have free education, and we don't. Have you ever asked yourself how we spent almost $10 trillion in the Middle East on wars that benefited nobody? Can you explain to me when me and my buddies were standing on the border begging the federal government for a border wall, and they said no, and yet they appropriated funds through the budgetary process for border security in Egypt, Lebanon, Afghanistan, Iraq? Have you ever asked yourself, as that man just stated, in 1975, the Church Commission said and was able to bring CIA director and CIA people in front of congressional testimony, sworn testimony, that our government created something called MK Ultra, Mein Kampf Ultra. And we experimented on hundreds of thousands of unsuspected and kidnapped and trafficked people and children, and did vile things to them. You think that's crazy? Well, go read the church commissions. Go read the books of Dr. Juliet Engel, a woman that I interviewed at length for about almost 3 hours. She's a doctor, not a doctor of poetry or some other garbage. She's a medical doctor that escaped MK Ultra sex magic, wrote about it, best-selling books. This is no longer a whisper. This is a crazy conspiracy. This has been proven that our government brutalized children, brutalized American citizens, and all kinds of experiments. Our government is corrupt to the core. Our government is evil as it could ever be. That man's anger, you could feel it. You know, when someone talks and you're just like, that man not only feels that anger, he has a deep understanding of why it makes him so angry. There's people that just run off at the mouth and scream. They have no idea what they're angry about. Go ask any of the protesters in Minneapolis or anything in LA when they are protesting the No Kings, and just ask them a simple question. Why are you protesting? Why are you angry? What is upsetting you? They can't tell you. If you ask me, I'll rattle off an endless list of things that have pissed me off and why. Same thing with that man. Why? Because he's looking at everything play itself out over and over and over again. Understand, there was a church commission where they told the CIA director, do not destroy the paperwork, the files, the evidence, and he destroyed almost 95% of it. Did anyone go to jail? No. So when I'm sitting here telling you today that no one's going to pay a price, understand this is not me saying, well, this is what I believe. No, I'm looking at historical trends, historical facts. Nobody pays a price. Nobody. What was the price to the Nazi doctors, the scientists that supposedly, allegedly did all these horrible things in Germany during World War II? What happened to them? Well, it's called Operation Paperclip. And Operation Paperclip took, as Dr. Juliet Engel also confirmed with me, took thousands of scientists from Germany, changed their names, gave them new identifications, put them across our nation in higher elite education, in colleges and universities, put them in NASA, and put them in the CIA. Now, why in God's name would you do that? And Dr. Juliet Engel told me something that was beyond fascinating, because I've spoken to several people that absolutely 100% deny that the Oklahoma City bombing was as they said. And I'm talking people that are intimately worked there, know everyone there, was part of the investigation. And Dr. Juliet Engel said to me, and I couldn't believe it when she said it. She says, do you know where all of the documents, like the hard physical copies of the documentation of Operation Paperclip, do you know where they held those? And I was like, no, ma'am, I don't. And she said, well, that would be the Oklahoma City building. We live in a simulation. We live in a world of unbelievable lies. We live in a world that is absolutely not what we see in any way. In any way. I'm going to talk later today on my show about Donald Trump. And I have come to a conclusion driving today home from work, thinking like a law enforcement officer and putting the pieces together and looking at the totality of it. And I have a conclusion, a belief, and I believe it's going to destroy Donald Trump. I've been defending this man since 2016, 10 years, defending him. He's thrown it all away. Not because he's in the Epstein files, not because he is a corrupt or he has dementia. No, Donald Trump is covering up the Epstein files to protect pedophile friends. It's that. I can't believe it's that simple. But I've looked at it, I've listened to people the smarter than me trying to articulate, and I keep coming up with, hey man, majority of all crimes, the majority of all life, everything seems confusing. It's not. Everything in life is pretty simple. Now, it may be messy, but it's not complicated. And people like to interchange that. Like, well, it's very complicated. You wouldn't understand. No, I understand it's very messy. We have to clean up your mess, your catastrophe. And once we're able to clean all the mess out, the picture will be much clearer. What you have done criminality-wise, criminal-wise, what you've done immorally, what you've done against God's human nature or man or his nature is simple. It's not complex. It's just messy. Take a man that has multiple affairs on his wife, destroys his family. His 3 kids hate him. They're going through dysfunction because they've had a death in their life. And they're not talking to the father, and the father's distraught, and the finances are falling apart. The mother is in depression, and everyone's like, it's really complicated. No, it's not. The father had an affair or multiple affairs on the mother. broke the trust, destroyed the marriage. Their children are suffering because they don't know what to believe, because it's all a lie. Everything in their world has been shown to be a lie. Assimilation. It's not complex. It's just messy. Let's take a look at Donald Trump and Epstein. Epstein was a procurer of young girls, finances, and then in turn, what he created was blackmail. And he turned it over. Either he worked with Mossad or CIA, worked with the United States government or with Israel or with Great Britain, or maybe he was just like a free agent and just worked with everybody. I don't know, and it doesn't matter to me. He was a man that took the most powerful people, found out what their immoral desires were, and fed them, creating a blackmail. And it goes deeper into child sacrifice, child torture, eating children, having people believe he's putting them in acid and dissolving them because he had 6 55-gallon drums of sulfuric acid on this island. It goes beyond what our comprehension of evil is. And then you throw in all the politics and the political leaders and the actors and actresses and the politicians and doctors and lawyers and business billionaires, and it's complex. The problem is complex. You wouldn't understand. No, I understand very clearly. It's not complex to me. It's very simple. It's very common sense what happened. As an investigator, I say you have a vile human being that has been either co-opted or ran his own through the partnerships of multiple intel agencies and created an empire where he was given all the money that he could ever imagine, and he blackmailed people. And he blackmailed them by cooking and eating children, torturing them for their adrenochrome, allowed them, like Bill Clinton, to have sex with allegedly multiple young women, raping them. Young girls now that we're finding as young as 8 and 9, maybe younger, but that's what we know. Allegations of actually having those teenage girls give birth to the babies, and they begin to harvest those babies, either organs or sacrifice. God knows, we don't know completely yet, but hopefully we'll find out one day, unfortunately. But it's not complex. It's very common sense. Where it gets messy and everything gets kind of convoluted and everyone's trying to figure out everything is when the cover-up begins. Just like the man that's having an affair, he has to cover his tracks constantly because he's a fear of getting caught. I don't believe Donald Trump's a pedophile. I don't believe he's caught in the Epstein web. He placed himself in the Epstein web. How did he do that? Because he made a decision to protect his friends. As he told Marjorie Taylor Greene, and as that has come out multiple times through multiple sources, it's the only explanation. Why in God's name would a man that campaigned on releasing the Epstein files, once he gets into office, he does this dog and pony show with an incompetent DOJ attorney general, putting stuff in binders, and there's nothing in the binders. She says her desk is littered with thousands of pages of Johns that raped kids and had all kinds of stuff, and now it's nothing. Then Kash Patel says no in front of Congress, testifying that there's no connection between Epstein and him trafficking girls, but there's a woman named Ghislaine Maxwell that was his madam, trafficked girls to nobody, but she's in jail. Pam Bondi comes out 3 days ago and says, well, if I arrest everyone, then the whole system is going to collapse. Donald Trump says it's a hoax, that we're wasting our time. What is it? There's 3 million pieces of evidence. There's going to be 6 million pieces of evidence. And if you're so stupid and naive to believe that the totality of evidence will be presented to us, you're a fool. There must be millions upon millions of pieces of evidence we're never going to see, destroyed or put away in some dark corner somewhere. So what is it? 6 million pieces of evidence that Jeffrey Epstein is in collusion with the CIA, Mossad, MI6, Great Britain, Israel, the United States. He got involved in the pandemic with Gates. He was deeply involved in the 2008 money, the economy going to the tubes. He was involved in all of it. He's involved in child sacrifice, child mutilation, child torture, eating children, cooking children, getting babies being born from the people that he raped and the men and women that raped them, and they get them. And they do whatever they do with the babies. I mean, I can't believe I'm having this discussion. And we have a president that I have fought for a decade, that you have fought for a decade. We were slandered. We were called horrible names. People lost jobs, bids on jobs, censored because we believed in Trump. Mr. Trump got arrested multiple times. They tried to put him in jail for basically the rest of his life. Tried to destroy his business, his family's business. Tried to take away properties. Tried to put him in jail for crazy rape charges that the woman didn't even know a decade she was raped in, that called her pet's vagina. And then they tried to kill him after they stole the election and tried to kill him. And I cannot, for the life of me, comprehend that this man's going to throw it all away to protect pedophile friends. I mean, it boggles my mind. I hope I'm wrong, but it just seems so damn obvious. And 99.99% of the time, the damn obvious is just the truth. And that becomes the real story, the factual story, the true story. And this man, President Trump, who I have personally battled for, is going to side with protecting pedophiles because some of his friends are going to get hurt, like Lutnick? It is unbelievable. Damn it, President Trump. There's a million freaking things going on, and everything's being tied around this Epstein. All of it. The financial collapse, the banking, the incestuous relationship we have with Israel and the Jews, child sex trafficking. You have our entire system, everything, the economy, education, healthcare, media, entertainment, politics, government, all of it's riddled with pedophilia, all of it. And not just, I can't believe I'm even saying this, not just raping kids, not just raping trains and having young girls be raped multiple times in a day. No, not just that. Eating children, calling them beef jerky, laughing, ordering it like they're like a pizza, and I'm going to devour it. I'm going to take their blood after I torture them. I'm going to kill these children. And nobody's going to do a damn thing. If you think someone's going to go to jail, you are out of your fucking mind. Because they're all connected to it. They're all in bed with it. All of it. They say that the entire government system of Great Britain is teetering right now because of the Epstein. Pam Bondi, who I have, be careful here. Pam Bondi, said, if I arrest everyone, the entire system collapses. You are now admitting, Miss Attorney General, that the entire system is run and greased by the death, the sexual rape, and mutilation of children. If that's the case, and I believe it is, then burn this fucker to the ground. I'm going to play a video next of a influencer that is as angry as the other gentleman that I just played. And he's talking about Lutnick. And he's going to talk about this, but I want to really talk about this. So we have some understanding that this isn't a mistake that Mr. Lutnick vacationed with Epstein on his island. He took his family. I believe he has 4 children. He took friends that had another 4 children. He took them on an island, a secluded island. Like you have to get there by a plane, helicopter, or a boat. Not walking away. You're not escaping. You brought your children and 4 other children onto an island of a convicted pedophile. I'm a parent, and we make mistakes. Like we make mistakes. There are times where at the end of the day, I get on my knees and I pray to God, please make me a better father, please. I did and said things today that I cannot believe I did or I said. It wasn't out of maliciousness. It was just out of frustration, out of love, out of whatever. But I would never bring my son to an island of a pedophile. If I had one of my friends was arrested and now he's a registered sex offender and a pedophile, my son would never, ever, ever get near him. Never. So Mr. Lutnick, in whatever the hell the way he wants to spin this, is a liar. We live in a world that is completely void of morality, of honesty. We live in a very sick, godless world, and Satan is winning. And it is everywhere. You can't escape it. We're not voting our way out of it. We are not legislating our way out of it. We are not going to do anything that's going to hurt the demons and Satan unless we go into a physical, violent attack. You may not like me saying that. You may recoil. You may call me all these names, but I am telling you, and one day you're going to come back to me. I'm going to see you in my DMs. I'm going to see you in my emails, and you're going to say, you were right. Damn it. I hated you when you said it, but damn it, you were right. And I will be proven right. There is no way. There is no way. If this isn't stopped right now, it will accelerate to a point that my child and your children and your grandchildren are going to have to deal with Satan. Why don't we deal with Satan right now?
So this is an email from Howard Lutnick to Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, Howie.
December 19th, 2012.
And he said 2005.
Over 7 years since that alleged massage table walkout.
Wow.
Hi, Jeff. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart/Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? As in, what is the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Mary Lerman, with me on my boat.
This is the wild.
Whoa. And each of us has 4 children. Doesn't list their names. I want to point that out. He says 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7-year-old. I remind you, this is 4 years after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted. How this guy has a job today is a disgrace. There is no room.
That's disgusting.
For nuance here.
No, that is disgusting.
Fired! Fired! I'm done with these fucking people. Fire this guy right now. What is your excuse? He's a liar. Neighbors with this dude. Claims he only ever met him once. Lived next to him for 20-some years.
That's crazy.
Proven liar. Advising the President of the United States every fucking day. I'm so done with these people.
Yeah,
I'm so fucking done with these
abhorrent.
people.
That is absolutely abhorrent.
I'm so fucking done with these people.
And I gotta fucking file taxes in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
What?
That one just,
That is disgusting.
and nothing will be done. That's the thing. He'll have a job.
That's
He'll have a job
so
today. He'll have a job
weird.
tomorrow. He'll have a job next week. He'll continue advising.
What is the conversation when he's like, "Hey, I'm about to email Jeff back. You're 4. What are their ages? What are their ages? Like what a fuck."
His anger's righteous. How does Donald Trump not feel this? Sometimes I feel as if Donald Trump, he doesn't read the room. He just doesn't. I don't get it. Sometimes he's like, man, that guy's so ahead of the curve, so ahead of the curve. And other times I'm like, who in the God's name are you listening to, man? You're covering up for people like Lutnick. Other people that were raping girls, children, eating them. How are you making this decision? Who's telling you to make this decision? Hey, okay, let me retract that. I don't care who's telling you to do it. You have 100% ownership of your life, sir. But the problem is your life and the decisions you make have profound impact on my life and what happens to me and my family. I'm going to show you stuff in the next 30 minutes as this episode's flying by, is I'm going to show you, because of Donald Trump's actions or inactions or his cover-up and the people that he placed in positions of authority and power, they have taken an absolute, basically 95% Democrat problem. This was all of their leaders, all of their godlike people are pedophiles, are eat children. They murder children. And it's all them. It's all the Democrats. They owned it. And because you're covering it up, Mr. President, and Pam Bondi is incompetent, and Kash Patel, God damn it, how did he get in that position? He should be the FBI director. The Democrats have flipped it. They're now attacking our side. And it's all about cover-up. And you know what? They're right. They're absolutely right. I'm going to play you videos from Jalapal. She's grotesque. Jamie Raskin. Is there a bigger schmuck in the world than that little rat bastard? Ted Lieu? The midterms? Are you fucking kidding me? The midterms? Our whole nation's going to crumble. My God, man. My God. Talked about her. Pam Bondi. Remember, this is a hoax. Remember, this is a hoax when you watch this. Was in 2025. Watch this, 17 seconds.
Epstein files are going to get released?
We hope soon. Okay.
Okay.
So,
any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tons and thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
Okay, let me hear you. You got to say this again. Let's hear it one more time, just in case you coughed and you missed it.
Tons and thousands of videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So
There are tens of thousands of videos, and it's all with little kids. But it's a hoax. Well, how can it be a hoax? This is before Donald Trump said it was a hoax. How is it a hoax? You're the Attorney General. How do you not say to the president, Mr. President, we have a massive, massive problem, sir? And he would have shot back, as he did with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sure he did with her. There's a lot of people in positions of authority and power that's going to be embarrassing. It's going to cause major strife to my administration. A real law enforcement official would say, sir, with all due respect, I'm going to nail every single one of these people to the wall, and I'm going to go for the highest punishment possible for raping, dismembering, torturing, killing, sacrificing children. And if they're your friends, I'm going to go especially hard on them, sir. Have a good day. Didn't do that. And now here we are. We have Thomas Massie. And I'm going to play this video, and then I'm going to get into Democrats. And guess what? As much as I despise those freaking Democrats, I despise them, they're 100% correct.
Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
He was,
Mr.
this
Chairman.
isn't how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from.
All right, I'm reclaiming my
Can I give
time.
my answer?
So
Yes.
I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman,
because I
may I
have
give my
another
answer
question.
on that?
If
It's a political
here's the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
we'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his
Chairman,
next
it's
question.
my time.
Within 40
Chairman.
minutes, you asked me a question.
You can give
Within
me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes
You
of me catching you red-handed.
Red-handed, there was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and
Okay.
we invited you in.
Gentlemen,
This guy has Trump
Gentlemen.
derangement syndrome. He needs to.
Gentlemen.
You're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
I
get
want
on
you to
these
watch the
matters.
video.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the
himself.
rules
There
here.
is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that?
Hold on. They don't need to call FBI. FBI is corrupt. They stood on the steps of the nation's capital and said everything. They've been in the halls of Congress saying it out loud. Why are you not calling them? Why are you not reaching out and saying, please come sit down and have someone that's going to copy and record everything? You haven't done that. Why? Why wouldn't you do that? I'm a law enforcement officer. If I know there's evidence out there, I'm not going to sit in my office and wait for them to call some 900 number, some 800 number. I'm going to go get him. This makes no sense. This makes no sense. And it makes no sense because it's a cover-up. Isn't it always the cover-up? But my God, I'm going to go back to this and I'm going to harp on it over and over and over again. Mr. President, you are throwing away your presidency. In the absolute direct way, you're throwing away my life and the tens of millions of people that based our hope in you. Our country's falling apart and you're going to throw it away for some friends that are pedophiles? I don't care, sir, if it burns to the ground. We have to resurrect it from its ashes, but we can't keep going on as if we're all tied to pedophilia and we think it's okay. Mr. President, you have grandchildren. What if it was your grandchildren that Lutnick and all the other guys were eating, not raping, not vaginally, anally, or orally raping your children, your grandchildren, but they were eating them. They were torturing them to get their blood levels up so they get their adrenochrome. Now, that changes the game now, doesn't it, Mr. President? And I'm going to say this. Anybody touch my son, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him with bare hands. But why would I want to protect my son? And I want to ignore the 400,000 kids that are lost every single year in America. As much as my son's life is paramount to all, I know on a human level, his life has the same meaning as every other one of those children that were raped and killed on Epstein Island. Why is this not? I can't listen to her anymore on that one. Sorry. On to the next one. On to someone that is, God, I can't believe I have to play him and go, yeah, I agree with him. Ted Lieu, God almighty.
I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files.
I'm claim my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock. Stop the clock.
The legislation.
Hey, I'm all in agreement. No, Donald Trump didn't do it. No, he wasn't there with children. I absolutely believe that. However, because you guys are covering it up, now you're paying the price. Now you have allowed these vile, sick, evil Democrats to turn the tables. And guess what? They're winning, and they're going to win because you idiots, you degenerates in the Republican Party, that you don't even have the balls to do what's needed to be done and go after what people need to see. Why? Because you're complicit, or your friends are complicit. You're gutless. You're worthless. They're going to eat your lunch. They're going to destroy our country, and it's your fault because you're protecting pedophiles. Damn it, you people are.
To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
There they are, Pam Bondi. Don't make them call you. Walk over there and say, here's my card. Here's my card. I am going to reach out to you immediately. Here's my assistant. You have my card. So you have direct contact with me. And here's my assistant. They're going to take all of your names. And I want to see you at your earliest convenience. And it needs to be immediate. This is a national security issue. But she doesn't do it.
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand. Attorney General Bondi, you apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
Jalapal, Congresswoman Jalapal. She's a creature, like a beast. Can't believe I'm going to say this. She's 100% right. They redacted the names of the Johns, and they released the names of the victims. Let me say that again. They redacted the names of the powerful individuals that were raping, murdering, sacrificing, torturing children, that destroyed our economy, that are in bed with Israel, tied to the CIA and Mossad, and they redacted all that. But these women that had their lives ruined, and they're continually living through hell because it doesn't go away, and all of the other children that just kind of disappeared into death traps, we're going to show their names.
Congresswoman, you sat before Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
I don't give a shit about Merrick Garland. This is about you, sweetheart. This is about what you, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and President Trump have created. You created this with all the Republicans in bed with you. You created this. You're going to destroy this presidency, and you're going to destroy it to cover up a bunch of vile pedophiles. I swear to God, you people don't deserve to be in power. You people deserve to go to jail too. We've all had it. Here's someone I have to show that is so grotesque. Jamie Raskin. Is there a more vile human being? Honestly, Epstein, yeah. But I'd put this jackass right underneath Epstein. He's so vile. He's a lying, scheming piece of trash. But Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Trump, everyone involved, you've allowed this to happen. And now we're eating the shit sandwich called the Epstein debacle. This was a complete, almost 100% Democrat issue that they had to defend. Now they've turned it on us because we're covered it up.
That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course. You're running a massive Epstein cover-up right out of the Department of Justice. You've been ordered by subpoena and by Congress to turn over 6 million documents, photographs, and videos in the Epstein files, but you've turned over only 3 million. You say you're not turning over the other 3 million because they're somehow duplicative, but we know that there are actual memos of victim statements in there. And you also took down the Department of Justice's prosecution memo from 2019. So it's clearly not all duplicative, but even if it were, why not release it? Just release all the duplicative.
He's right. He's absolutely right. He's the most vile. He looks like a rat. But he's right. Just release it. But it's a hoax. But wait, there's thousands of children that are in there being raped, you said while you were having brunch there in Washington, D.C. Well, Kash Patel can't connect any kind of people being being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. Cash Patel, there's 3 million pieces of evidence. Out of 3 million, even if I said there was 1%, 1% would be 30,000 pieces of evidence. What if there were 10 pieces of evidence? Like 1/1,000,000th of a percent. What? Well, it's a hoax. Donald Trump says it's a hoax. Well, is it a hoax? Or when you told Marjorie Taylor Greene that all of your friends are going to be implicated in it, well, but it's a hoax. So are your friends pedophiles and did vile things, or did they not, Mr. President? Look what you people have done to us. You put the Democrats in positions of authority again. And they rightfully are attacking us. You have the people that have committed the heinous crime have turned around and said, you're the problem. Don't worry about the crimes that we did. You're trying to cover up the crimes we did. So we're going to attack you. Do you see how we're living in the Twilight Zone? I can't take any. I'm sorry. I can't take any more Jamie Raskin. He is one. I can't stand this guy. Here's someone God, I can't stand this jackass, this Baptist-looking evangelical preacher. I'm sorry, I'm from the Deep South. He looks like a televangelist. I'm speaking of Speaker Johnson. Speaker Johnson told us, no, Epstein, that's all a lie. But prior to this bill, the Epstein declassification bill, this is what he said. And I want you to pay very, very close attention to a guy that's saying that these files are there's nothing there.
All right. Number 5, national security concerns. Okay. The discharge requires the Attorney General to release within 30 days, quote, classified information to the maximum extent possible. This ignores the principle that declassification should always rest and always has rested with the agency that originated the intelligence. Why? So that they can protect their critical sources and methods. It is incredibly dangerous to demand that officials or employees of the DOJ declassify materials that originated in other agencies, in intelligence agencies.
Okay, before I play this again, the propaganda that the people that are at the top of whatever in sports, entertainment, media, politicians, doctors, lawyers, they're the smartest of our nation. They're the smartest in our society. No. They're good at one thing. This jackass is good at politicking, campaigning. I want you to listen. When you allow them to speak, it gets very clear what the message is. Remember, he's telling us that there's nothing to see here. This is a hoax. But then he says we can't really give you the whole entire files unredacted because it will show you our agencies and foreign countries' agencies, intel agencies, their methods and ways they do things. It would compromise national security. Which one is it, jackass? Do you need to go look and talk to President Trump about how he's going to spin it? Or Kash Patel with his Google eyes? Or Pam Bondi with her screechy little voice? Which one's it going to be, Speaker Johnson? Let's hear it again.
Intelligence. Why? So that they can protect their critical sources and methods. It is incredibly dangerous to demand that officials or employees of the DOJ declassify materials that originated in other agencies, in intelligence agencies.
So you just stated, sir, that the intelligence agencies were working with Epstein. Thank you. You know what's incredibly dangerous? I'm going to tell you. It's the United States of America dying. I played this lady yesterday on my show, the Vermont rep, Becca. And I'm not mispronouncing her name on purpose. I apologize. Balint. Ballint. Let's listen to her again talk about what she just saw in the Epstein files.
I've tried to shoot a video now probably a dozen times trying to tell you about what I saw in the Epstein files. And honestly, it's just so depraved and it's sick and it's not a cabal. It's so much bigger than a cabal. It is a vast network of rich and powerful people believing they can do whatever they want to girls and women. And I just want to do right by the survivors. When I go before Pam Bondi tomorrow in judiciary, I want to do right by those survivors. And that's weighing on me because they've been so ill-treated for so long. And we have a responsibility to show up for them with everything we've got.
Everything you got. You're a Democrat. I don't care. I probably disagree with her on about everything. You got it, ma'am. Bring it all. I want you to burn the Republican Party to the ground. I mean, all of them and everything in it. But, ma'am, you need to burn your party to the ground, too, because you know that the rapists, the murderers, the pedophiles, all of those, the vile demons, the vast majority on your side. We have them on our side. I'm telling you, I want my party to burn to the ground. Do you have the moral courage to say the same thing? I doubt it. Let's listen to some more. This is Miss Mace. Here she goes, talking about what she's seen.
I want to put some names to you that have been in the news connected to Epstein files this week. The U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, I think you were just alluding to this, has now confirmed in his hearing that he visited Epstein's island in 2012. Now, that's contradicting his previous claims that he cut all ties with him years earlier, and was, of course, several years after Epstein's conviction for being a pedophile. And he said, I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. We had lunch on the island. That is true for an hour. Now, that doesn't mean he did anything wrong, but it does mean he was not telling the truth originally about the timeline of his relationship with Epstein. And it does beg the question, why are you taking your family to an island owned by a convicted pedophile?
I would never do that as a mom. I want to protect children with every fiber of my being and would do that. But you would be shocked, Pierce, at some of the names that I've seen that came across the DOJ in emails that the DOJ is protecting. And we're talking about people on both sides of the aisle. We're talking about famous people, rich people, people in power, prime ministers, former presidents, et cetera, media personalities that are named in these files. And that's why I say this is going to go down as the greatest cover-up, one of the greatest cover-ups in American history. And I don't believe the girls are actually going to see justice, which is why it's going to be incumbent upon people like Democrat Ro Khanna, Republican Thomas Massey. I'm a Republican myself who's willing to name some of those names in our committee work, on the floor of the House, whatever it takes, because this kind of thing cannot continue to go on. I want to give the next girl hope that when she comes forward, she won't be shamed. Her life won't be smeared in the Daily Mail or whatever the next press, is going to do. What they do to female victims and to children is disgusting because they're protecting their rich and powerful friends. But you'd be surprised, shocked even at some of the names in the files.
Well, here's something, ma'am, that I would like to ask you. Why don't you stop telling us about you're going to name names? And why don't you just name names? Why don't you just sit there and get a list and start reading them? Get on the floor of the House and start reading the names because of law, you can't be punished. You can't be sued. You can't be anything. Get up there and read the names. Why don't you? You're a sex survivor, a sex victim survivor. What more do you need, ma'am? Maybe it's courage. Maybe she doesn't want to be primaried and have Marion Adelstein or Sheldon, or Adelstein, I don't even know, I forget which one, pour millions of dollars into a campaign against you like they're doing Massey. I don't know. I'm not trying to just call you out, Miss Mace. I'm just saying, why don't you name names? Guess what? I would name names. You know what I wouldn't do, though? You know what I wouldn't do on my worst day? My worst day is I wouldn't protect pedophiles.